Okay, with the props lineup, our prospects, our first prospects is Apollo Siranawai. Apollo Siranawai is a former Fijian under 20. He played in 2014 and then later converted to playing rugby league in Australia. His skill set is he's a really strong ball carrier. I mean, really strong ball carrier, and he's a good scrummer too. And he mostly played club rugby. Now he's returned back to rugby union. He's playing club rugby for Northern Suburbs in Australia. Our second prospect is Libai Natabe. His background, he played for QVS in the Deans back in 2016 and 2017. And then he was also selected for the Fiji schoolboys for both years, 2016 and 2017. And then he later was picked by Kolisi Wambu for the Fiji under 20, where they get to win in Romania. And then he was selected again for 2019. And he played also for other development teams like Fiji Warriors and the Fiji Latui. I would say his skills would be, he's a very powerful ball carrier. He showed that during schoolboys rugby. But ever since he went into the under 20s, you didn't see much of that. But he was very reliable in the under 20s in the scrums though. But sadly though, around 2019 and onwards, he's been getting a lot of injuries. He now plays for Suva Rugby Club. Our third prospect is Kalyapasi Lekapa. Kalyapasi Lekapa is a former Morris Brothers student. He played in the Dean's 2015 and 2016 Dean's Trophy, and during the 2016 schoolboys tour to New Zealand, he got recruited by the Hurricanes in New Zealand, and he got to play for the New Zealand under 20 for 2 years, in 2018 and 2019, and also played for Wellington in the NPC before he moved to Northern, where he now plays. His skill set, I would say he's among the two that I previously mentioned. I would say this guy is the most powerful ball carrier of them all. Quite young though. He's only 22, and yet how strong he can gain those yardage, those meters, is definitely going to be a player to look out for the Drua. And he's also quite raw in the scrums, but he's only got to get better if given time. So yeah, he now plays club rugby for Northern. Our fourth prospects, Emmanuel Nadiva. Emmanuel Nadiva is 23. His background, former Morris Brothers student, played in the Deans in 2016 and represented the Fiji under 20 in 2018, and the Fiji Warriors and Fiji Latui in 2019, and now he's in this second year playing for Naita Siri. His skill set, I would say he's not so much of a powerful ball carrier, but he's very reliable in the scrums. And his club right now is Naita Siri. Our next line of prospects for the tight head props. First one is Melituni, age 22. He's a former RKS student. He was actually part of that famous RKS team that won the Cynics youth tournament in Japan back in 2018 under Mr. Nada Nielisami, and they also won the Deans under 18 through that same year. And so he later got selected into the Fiji under 20 in 2019, but unfortunately he got injured in the under 20 championship in Argentina. He was also selected for the Fiji Warriors during the Pacific Challenge. His skill set is he's a short prop, but technically he's very prowess in the scrums. I would say he's a very exciting prop to watch out for. He's very intelligent in the scrum. One of his major standout performances you should check out was in the under 20 Oceania Championship in 2019, especially against Australia. However, during the Pacific Challenge Cup, especially against Japan, he kind of struggled a bit in the scrums. Melitun is now playing for Suva. Our next prospect is, I don't mean to butcher his name, but his name is Hayereti Hetet. He's the son of the famous flying Fijian prop Joel Veteaki. Hetet had played for the New Zealand Maori before pledging his allegiance to the flying Fijian. He has had 2 caps for Fiji. I think of all the prospects here, he's the only one who has flying Fijian test cap under his belt. His skill set, unfortunately I haven't watched much of his game, the NPC for Bay of Plenty, but based on what I've watched when he played Fiji, especially 2 test matches, he was decent in the scrums. He didn't do anything wrong. But one thing I found out is that he's really good with his hands. He reminds me of Luke Taini, who was playing in France. And Hereti Hetet is now playing for Bay of Plenty. Hey bro, if you're listening to this, I hope I'm not butchering your name, man. I'm sorry. And the next prospect is Josefa Nasaroa, age 22. Nasaroa actually partnered with Levi Natavev for QVS back in 2017. He got selected in the schoolboys tour to Australia that year, and the following year Kolisuamba picked him up for the under 20s to Romania in 2018, and he got selected again in 2019 to Argentina. Nasaroa has come through the development teams like the Fiji Warriors in Drua and the Latui. His skill set, I would say he was a beast back in schoolboys rugby, but ever since then I haven't seen much of that. He's been struggling to win a place for the Drua back in 2019, but he can still improve though. He still has potential. Nasaroa is now playing for Suva. Matteo Ngolesese. This is one player also I haven't seen much of his games, but based on what I've heard, he has huge potentials. His background, he played for QVS the Deans back in 2013 and played for the Fiji Warriors in Drua in 2019. His skill sets, he's really good in defense. He's very ruthless with it, and he has a good technique in the scrum. And he was a potential candidate for the Flying Fijian back in 2019 and 2020. Mateo Ngolesese is playing for Suva. And our prospects for our hookers position, the first that we have here is Tevita Ignivere, age 22. His background, he played for QVS in the Deans back in 2017 and got selected in the schoolboys tour to Australia that year. In 2018, he was part of Coliseo Ambu's Fiji under 20, and he played again in 2019 to Argentina. He had gone through two development teams, the Fiji Warriors and the Fiji Lotui, back in 2019. His skill set, he does a good job in his throwing. He's never let down to the forwards. He communicates well with the lock positions. Back in the under 20, you see that a lot. And him being a captain, he was leading by example. And he's quite physical too at times. The way I see it, he's definitely been bred as Fiji's future hooker. Tevita Ignivere is now playing club rugby for Suva in the Skipper Cup. Our next prospect is Chone Nangiri, age 22. I never seen him play, but he's been getting a lot of recommendations from top rugby official from HPU, Fiji Rugby's HPU, and Nangiri attended Lillian Memorial in 2017 and was part of the Fiji Under 20 in 2019, and was also gone through the Fiji Warriors program, and also played for Naitai Siri during the Skipper Cup. Because I haven't seen much of his game, I just rely upon what some top rugby officials have said. So I'm just going with that. So he's playing for a top rugby club in Fiji, Naitai Siri. So yeah, that's Johnny Nangiri, age 22. Our next prospect is Lino Vasuinandi, age 21. His background, he attended Marist. He played in the 2018 and was got selected for the schoolboys tour to New Zealand, where they got to play the New Zealand under 18 Maoris, the New Zealand Barbarians. Then he got selected in the Fiji under 20 in 2019 to Argentina, and has been through the Warriors team too in the Pacific Challenge. I would say skills-wise, his skill sets, I would say he's quite the same as Ikonibere. He does his throw-ins very well. He's well depended upon. Stays busy in the rocks, but I would rate him just behind Ikonibere at the moment. Lino is playing for Suva. Our next fourth prospect is Zuriel Tongiatama. This is one of the few Kiwi players that we have for the Drua. He was born and raised in New Zealand and plays for Counties Monaco. That's the only info I know about him. I haven't seen much of his game, but based on the highlights I've seen, I think he's the most impressive hooker of the list of hookers that I've mentioned and that I'm about to mention. He's very physical. He's a hard runner, hard tackler, and really has high work rate. So Zul Tongiatama is playing for Counties Monaco. So keep a watch out for him for the Drua setup. Next and fifth prospect is young Sermai Komailevuka. He's still a young kid. He's only age 20. He played for Maris in the Deans 2019. He got selected in schoolboys too. And unfortunately was part of the Fijian under 20, but things got cancelled. The championship got cancelled. So it's quite unfortunate not to see our under 20s players participate. But during the local Skipper Cup under 19 competition, Sarah Mike Mailevukas was still impressive during the Skipper Cup. Two things I have to say about his skill set is that he's very aggressive and has a lot of energy. I highly rated him. I feel like he could be the next Sam Matavesi, and yeah, and he's playing for he was playing for Namois under 20. So you'll be hearing a lot about him in the future for the Drua. And now final prospect is Mesulamen Dolokoto, age 26. Out of all the hookers I've listed, he's the most experienced of the lot. He has about 11 caps for Fiji. His background is that he was Fiji under 18 captain that beat New Zealand schools under 18 back in 2013. That schoolboys team had William Kikau. So yeah, there were some notable names in that under 18. Dolokota got a scholarship to Australia and was played a bit with ACT Brumbies before he returned back to Fiji. So he had played with Drua, Warriors, Latui, and had a stunt with Glasgow Warriors. But now he has returned back and just got signed by Tasman Maple. And I would say about his skill set, I would say he's very athletic, has a lot of pace for someone his size, and he brings a lot of experience for a group of front rows, and that's something good both for our forward pack. Our next line of prospects are the locks position. Coming in here first is Isoa Nasilasila. His background, he was born and raised in Fiji. I think he attended Lelin Memorial School before he headed out to Australia. He had played it was a trial for the Fiji under 20 and played for the Fiji Warriors in 2019. He had a standard performance for the Fiji Warriors. I would say his skills is very strong in the lineouts, quite aggressive in close contact situation, and he has that that old school type of lock. It's quite intimidating to play against. So Isona Silsila is age 22. He's playing for Southern District in Australia. Ratu Rotu Solia, his background, he played for Sydney University in Australia and was also part of the Emerging Waratahs last year. His skill set is he's quite a big boy. He has strong carries. He can literally carry like 3 or 4 guys with him. He's really good in his ball carries, and he brings a lot of physicality and size to the Drua team at the back row. Ratu Solia is now playing his trade in France for Bayonne. Our next prospect is Joseph Tamani. Joseph Tamani is age 24. His background, he was born and raised in Fiji. Was part of the Melbourne Rebels setup, and he was also playing a bit for Overlau last year in the island zone. His skill set, I would say, is very dangerous in open space. He reminds me of a lanky sevens forward. He has pace to burn and has that wicked offload. The club is playing for his Hunters Wildfires in Australia. Our fourth prospect is Raikambula Moimoindonu. His background, he went to school to Natambua and he played in the Deans 2016 and was selected in the schoolboys to New Zealand that year. Then he captained the Fiji under 20 in 2018 that won in Romania, and he has represented the Fiji Warriors and Fiji Latui. His skill set, I would say, is a solid and attentive player, always looking for work, and is a line-out specialist. Moimoindonu currently plays for Northland in New Zealand. Our fifth prospect is Apisai Tauyawuda. His background, he attended QVS, I think, back in 2011. Played for Naita Siri in Suva during the Skipper Cup and have had stint overseas for some clubs, and most recently is with the Houston Cybercats in the US. He has a high work rate, that's his skill set, and he always stays composed. Our next prospect is Temo Raimbevu, age 28. He is my personal favorite. I only know that he had the LMS, but he had some experience playing in Japan before his return to play for Naita Siri. His skill sets, he's definitely everything you could ask for in a lock. He doesn't shy away up front in close contact. He's a huge threat in the breakdown and reads lineouts really well. If you watch last year's Skipper Cup final between Suva and Naita Siri, you'll see how good and aggressive he was in the breakdown. He was winning turnovers. Our next prospect is Chris Minimbi. Background, he attended Marist and played in the Deans 2018. Got selected in the Fiji Schoolboys, and the year next he was part of the Fiji under 20 that went to Argentina, and also represent the Warriors and the Latui. His skill set, I would say, he's a great leader in the lineup. He's very good in managing certain set moves in the lineup. He has a high work rate, and he teams up really well with players around him. If you watched the round 2 Skipper Cup earlier this year between the games of Naita Siri, you'll see how he had set up some beautiful tries. He's Fiji's HPU's latest product, and there's a lot of expectation out of him. So the club he's playing for is Naita Siri. Our next in line is Soro Tuifangalele. Tuifangalele's background, he's represent the Fijian Drua and the Fiji Latui. His skill set is really physical and imposing, just like Temo Raimbevu. I would say this young lad is really turning to become an enforcer. It showed how physical he was during the Skipper Cup and when he played for the Latui. This youngster is definitely someone to look out for the Drua next year. Our next prospect is Epeli Reindiva. Epeli Reindiva's background, he had played a bit overseas in New Zealand, and has came back and played for the Fijian Drua and Latui back in 2019. He is a strong and heavy ball carrier and doesn't shy away from context. He's someone to look forward to. Epeli Rendiba is playing for Lutoka. Our last prospect is Etonia Wanga. Etonia Wanga background is he had attended St. Kitts College, a top rugby school in New Zealand, and had represented Fiji in the under-20s back in 2019. He had a standout performance for Fiji. His skill set would be quite similar to Josefa Tamani. He has speed of a 7th forward. He's an aggressive defender and technically brilliant in winning lineouts. Sadly for Etonia Wanga, he's been suffering a lot of injuries lately, so hopefully he'll be up and ready for selection. Etonia Wanga currently is with Bay of Plenty in New Zealand.